fishing line. Fishing and fish lines. Fish. That's the right analogy. In prison, someone new is a fish. They're on a line. You can manipulate them. You can lead them in a certain direction. We all have lines. We all have wires. We all have hooks, right? Hooks come in the form of people. Hooks come in the form of a place that you own or rent. Hooks come in the form of cars. But also, it's a line. It's a fishing line. You are on it. You are being led through the water, right? You are walking a path that has not just been constructed for you, but the way in which you move down the path is also constructed for you. The timing, how exactly you move through. Let me explain. So in a city, you have city blocks, right? You have a street, you have buildings on the blocks. You can think of a city like a grid. Very flat cities have a very clear grid at times, but other cities are not so grid-like. But think of it first like a grid of obvious roads and obvious blocks, right? Like New York City. But then there are other paths that are laid over through those blocks, right? And those paths are the lines, right? And if you're walking through a city and you are, being led, if you're within the matrix, let's say, you are walking down different paths, and the way in which people are walking, the way in which cars are moving, they are all timed out for you to follow down a line, right? For you to follow the sort of desired path for you to navigate through the city, right? There is a flow or a way in which it is desired for, let's say, you, other tourists, other people coming. There's a way of moving through each city, right? And so a city is constructed not as individual businesses and individual blocks between roads, but as a larger ecosystem of fishing lines, right? Fish on hooks. So if you're a tourist or if you're coming to shop or whatever, right? If you are just a normal person going through a city, you're experiencing that city in an intended way as a fish. But these hooks on a line, like I said, it can be a place you're renting. Like I said, it can be a car. A phone is a huge hook on a line. A laptop, a job, all of these things. But then also friends. People you work with, right? People you meet and have a continued relationship with in other ways, right? It's this whole ecosystem of lines, right? Of different types of hooks. One of the things I've talked about before is the whole I will become whatever you need me to become. This idea that your lines, the way in which they cast out that fishing line to you, shifts depending on where you are, right? Depending on your frequency, depending on your observed understanding of the world, right? And of also with what you allow, right? What you like, what you don't like, where you like to be, where you don't like to be, all of these sorts of things. And so then characters morph and come into your reality based upon, your sheet, right? The info sheet about you. And those are hooks, right? Hooks, lines, and these people can become false friends, or they can become acquaintances, or they can, I wish that I was actually encountering people of genuineness, but that's not really what happens most of the time, right? Because we are living in a system. We are living not in a free reality, but in a subjugated reality, right? In a matrix. So, right, fish on a line. That is the reality that we live inside of, right? If you are a normal person, right? And what does that even mean? But in the sense of, if you're just living your life, not connected to, but everybody has their own lines, right? Everybody is surrounded by lines. So I think it just becomes this whole spectrum of different sort of fish hooks and fishing lines. And where are you in the great sphere of puppetry? I think part of why I seem to be, I think I come off as a strange character, or a person that, I'm a strange character, let's just say that. Part of the reason for that is I have been analyzing and trying to clear and understand my fishing lines and be much more intentional about what fishing lines I accept, right? What hooks do I allow into me, the fish, because I'm the fish. What hooks do I allow into me versus what hooks do I remove from me? And it is very, very difficult to be fully hookless, right? Because we are in an all-encompassing ecosystem. But you can definitely remove hooks, and it is harder the more important you are to society, let's say, right? The more you have a role in society that matters for the day-to-day operations of the machine that we all live inside of, then you have way more hooks. If you are less connected to that world, right? If you are more of a loner, or if you have less friends, if you are connected less to, let's say, jobs that really need you to be there to perform your task, the less that you are integrated into those sorts of things, you have more freedom, you have less hooks, and it's easier for you to experiment with de-hooking yourself, right? Taking away the hooks, trying to be a free-swimming fish once again. But it always seems like there's more hooks and more hooks and more hooks, and new hooks come. And the hooks change and shift and grow. And this is, again, I talked about stuff like pornography and stuff like... Pornography is a hook. And it's a hook that will shift and change and alter if you heal your relationship with that. In the same way where if you are identifying people that do not have your best interest in heart, that call themselves your friends, and you de-hook yourself from those people, new hooks will emerge. And you need to understand that most of the time it seems like it's a new hook, not necessarily a genuine individual looking to seek a real, seek openness, seek friendship, right? Seek actual connection. But it is somebody who's also has their own hooks connected to somebody else, who now has to come to you to be the hook of the day. So be careful out there.